Let's be honest, ranking TV moms is no easy task. Some of them made us laugh, some gave us serious life lessons, and others made us thankful for the moms we had at home. Whether they were wise, over-the-top, sassy, or sweet, these moms left a mark on TV history and shaped generations of viewers along the way. So today, I'm counting down my picks for the top 25 most iconic TV moms. And trust me, this list could change if I made it again tomorrow. If your favorite didn't make the cut, don't take it personally. Maybe I haven't seen enough of their show to give them a fair spot, or they just missed the list by this much. Either way, this countdown is all about the moms who brought something unforgettable to our screens. Whether they were raising perfect kids, hot messes, or something in between, these TV moms became cultural icons in their own right. So with that said, let's run it back. 25. Dr. Rainbow Johnson, Blackish. Rainbow Johnson brought a level of modern progressive parenting we don't see enough on TV. Played by Tracee Ellis Ross, she's a successful anesthesiologist, a loving wife and a devoted mother to 5 kids with very different personalities. What makes Bo stand out is how she balances her career with her family, all while navigating the complexities of being a Black woman raising a biracial family in today's world. She's funny, supportive, and isn't afraid to call her husband Dre out when he's being ridiculous. Bo's parenting style feels real. She wants to be her kids' friend and their guide, even when she fumbles a bit along the way. Her character brought a much-needed portrayal of a layered, successful, and flawed mom that speaks to a lot of families today. 24. Dee Mitchell, Moesha. Cheryl Lee Ralph's Dee Mitchell stepped into the Mitchell family as Moesha's stepmother and had the difficult job of winning over a teenager still grieving her late mother. But what makes Dee iconic is how she earned respect by never demanding it. She showed love, patience, and a backbone that made her impossible to ignore. She wasn't just a background character. Dee challenged Frank, kept Moesha in line when needed, and had her own goals and identity beyond motherhood. She was a maternal figure who represented strength, grace, and discipline, and made an impression on Black households across the country during the show's run. 23. Jessica Huang, Fresh Off the Boat. Jessica Huang brought a fierce and comedic take on the so-called Tiger Mom. Constance Wu gave us a character who was unapologetically blunt, disciplined, and proud of her culture, while also having moments of surprising vulnerability. Jessica had high standards for her kids, her husband, and even her neighborhood. What made Jessica stand out was her evolution. Over time, she opened up more emotionally and let down some of her walls, showing there was a lot of love behind that intense exterior. She wasn't always warm, but you knew she cared deeply. Her unique style of motherhood brought a different type of representation to TV, one that felt specific and relatable to so many. 22. Morticia Addams, The Addams Family. Now here's a mom who embraced the weird and ran with it. Morticia Addams, played originally by Carolyn Jones, was spooky, glamorous, and deeply in love with her eccentric family. She wasn't your typical homemaker. She clipped roses off stems, spoke French to Gomez, and encouraged her kids to explore the darker sides of life. And yet, she was fiercely nurturing. She let Wednesday and Pugsley be exactly who they were, never judging them for their strange hobbies or behavior. Morticia redefined what a loving mother could look like: elegant, unorthodox, and endlessly accepting. Honestly, she made being weird look like the highest form of family bonding. 21. Amy Matthews' Boy Meets World. Amy Matthews may not have been front and center every episode, but her presence grounded the Matthews household. She was calm, nurturing, and offered some of the best advice without ever stealing the spotlight. Whether dealing with Corey's growing pains or Eric's many screw-ups, Amy was the quiet strength behind the chaos. She represented a type of mom who didn't need to be loud to be powerful. She loved her family deeply and had a rock-solid partnership with Alan. When things got serious, Amy had no problem laying down the law, and you always felt like she'd be there no matter what. She may have been low-key, but she was essential. 20. Jay Kyle, My Wife and Kids. Jay Kyle, played by Tisha Campbell, brought sass, smarts, and style to the sitcom mom role. She wasn't the sit back and let dad handle it type. Jay was right in the mix, parenting her 3 kids with a firm hand and hilarious sarcasm. Whether it was Junior's cluelessness, Claire's growing pains, or Katie's little kid antics, Jay had a response ready, usually one that involved a strong side eye and a sharp one-liner. What made Jay special was her balance. She could go toe-to-toe with Michael's antics, but she was also a loving, nurturing mom who genuinely cared about her family's growth. Her dynamic with her husband felt modern and equal, and she brought a strong female presence to a show that could have easily leaned too far into male-led comedy. Jay was a mom with attitude, but always came from a place of love. 19. Jill Taylor, Home Improvement. Jill Taylor, played by Patricia Richardson, had the patience of a saint, because living with Tim the Tool Man Taylor and raising 3 boys was no small feat. Jill was the intelligent, level-headed anchor of the family, often cleaning up the emotional messes left behind by her well-meaning but clueless husband. Her eye rolls were practically a language of their own. But Jill wasn't just a straight woman in the comedy. She had depth. She pursued her education, had opinions that mattered, and wasn't afraid to challenge Tim or advocate for herself and her boys. She's one of those moms that felt real, juggling dreams, family chaos, and emotional labor while still managing to stay sharp, supportive, and warm. 18. Lisa Landry, Sister. Lisa Landry, played by the scene-stealing Jackie Harry, was one of the most fun moms on 90s television. She was loud, dramatic, and fashion-forward, bringing a burst of personality to every scene. As the adoptive mother to Tia, Lisa had to learn how to co-parent with Ray while balancing 2 identical teenage girls, which was no easy task. What made Lisa iconic was her fierce love and openness. She embraced the chaos that came with raising twins, often showing that motherhood isn't always about structure. It's about being present and rolling with the punches. Her comedic timing, memorable catchphrases, and genuine affection made her one of the standout moms of black sitcoms in the 90s. 17. Marie Barone. Everybody loves Raymond. Marie Barone might not be the ideal mom, but she's definitely one of the most unforgettable. Played by Doris Roberts, Marie was the epitome of the overbearing, guilt-tripping mother and mother-in-law. She constantly inserted herself into her son Raymond's life, criticized Deborah at every opportunity, and still managed to play the victim like it was her job. Yet beneath all that meddling was someone who genuinely believed she was helping. Marie cooked, cleaned, and doted on her family in her own overbearing way. You could tell she loved deeply. She just didn't know how to let go. Her character became a sitcom archetype, and Roberts' delivery turned Marie into one of the most memorable and quotable moms of her generation. 16. Carol Foster, Step by Step. Carol Foster, played by Suzanne Summers, was the matriarch of a blended family in the 90s before that became TV's favorite premise. Marrying into a new household with 6 combined kids, Carol had to learn how to adjust her parenting style and find peace in a chaotic home. She was kind, open-minded, and always willing to listen, even when things got messy. Carol was also a successful hairstylist who balanced her career with motherhood, making her one of the more well-rounded sitcom moms of the era. She wasn't perfect, but she showed patience and resilience in navigating her new role. Her ability to connect with all the kids, not just her own, proved that being a great mom goes beyond biology. 15. Maggie Seaver Growing Pains. Maggie Seaver, played by Joanna Kearns, was a perfect blend of mom and professional. She returned to work as a journalist while raising 3 kids with her husband Jason, creating a dynamic that was progressive for 80s sitcoms. Maggie was level-headed, kind, and fiercely protective of her family. What made Maggie stand out was that she didn't fall into any extremes. She wasn't overbearing, but she wasn't overly passive either. She had the ability to be warm and supportive without losing her sense of authority. And let's not forget, raising Mike Seaver wasn't exactly a cakewalk. Maggie was proof that you could chase your dreams and still be a dedicated mom. 14. Rochelle, Everybody Hates Chris. I don't need this, my man has 2 jobs. If that quote didn't define Rochelle, I don't know what does. Played by Tashina Arnold, Rochelle was one of the most hilariously intense moms on television. She ruled her home with a firm hand and a sharper tongue, and she did it all while dealing with 3 very different kids and 1 very underpaid husband. But Rochelle wasn't just funny, she was real. She embodied the no-nonsense, protective black mom energy that resonated with so many viewers. She cared deeply for her family and wanted them to succeed, even if that meant yelling them into success. Rochelle was layered, unapologetic, and iconic in every sense of the word. 13. Kitty Forman, that 70s show, that 90s show. Kitty Forman, played by Deborah Jo Rupp, had one of the most infectious laughs in TV history. She was sweet, loving, and the complete opposite of her grumpy husband, Red. But don't let that fool you. Kitty wasn't a pushover. She had her own moments of asserting control, especially when Eric or his friends crossed the line. In both that 70s show and that 90s show, Kitty remained the emotional core of the Forman household. She welcomed chaos into her home, literally with all of Eric's friends, and managed to be a surrogate mom to an entire generation of kids who weren't even hers. Her warmth, comedic timing, and genuine heart made her one of the most beloved sitcom moms of all time. 12. Peggy Hill, King of the Hill. Peggy Hill is one of the most confidently wrong characters in television history, and that's what makes her so lovable. Voiced by Kathy Najimy, Peggy was a substitute Spanish teacher with barely any grasp of the language, but that didn't stop her from acting like a genius. She had big energy and bigger pride. Despite her flaws, Peggy loved her family deeply. She believed in Bobby's potential, even if she didn't quite understand him, and had an equal partnership with Hank, even if it was a little awkward at times. Peggy's charm came from her delusion mixed with sincerity. She truly wanted to be the best mom she could be, and in her own weird way, she kind of was. 11. Lois Wilkerson, Malcolm in the Middle. Lois Wilkerson was the storm that kept the house standing. Played by Jane Kaczmarek, Lois was loud, intense, and constantly operating at 100%. But in a household with 5 rowdy boys and a clueless husband, she had to be. She wasn't trying to be your friend. She was trying to survive and keep everyone in line. What made Lois brilliant was that she wasn't the picture of maternal softness, but she was fiercely devoted. She knew her kids weren't easy, but she loved them anyway and wanted them to succeed, even if that meant screaming it into them. Lois redefined the sitcom mom trope, turning chaos into something strangely beautiful. 10. Harriette Winslow, Family Matters. Harriette Winslow, especially in her original portrayal by Jo Marie Payton, was a true matriarch in every sense. Before Family Matters even started, she was holding it down on Perfect Strangers, which spun off into her own show. Harriette was a working-class mom who didn't tolerate foolishness, not from Carl, her kids, or their overly nosy neighbor Steve Urkel. What made Harriette so iconic was her ability to stay strong and compassionate in a house full of wild personalities. She was the firm but loving center of the Winslow family, and one of the rare sitcom moms who felt like someone you could meet in real life. She didn't try to sugarcoat things, she kept it honest, and that's what made her relatable to so many viewers. 9. Roseanne Connor, Roseanne. Roseanne Connor was not your cookie-cutter TV mom. She was loud, blunt, and often sarcastic, but she was also incredibly real. Played by Roseanne Barr, she brought a blue-collar toughness to TV that hadn't really been shown before. She and Dan weren't rich, they weren't perfect, but they were doing the best they could, and that made all the difference. Roseanne showed that motherhood isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, loving fiercely, and getting through the mess. She joked her way through financial hardship, unruly kids, and life's daily frustrations. The character's honesty about motherhood and womanhood helped pave the way for more grounded, relatable portrayals of moms on screen. 8. Vivian Banks, original Aunt Viv, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Janet Hubert's version of Aunt Viv was everything. She was elegant, fierce, and fiercely intelligent. As a college professor, a mother of 3, and a guiding force in Will's life, she stood as one of the strongest depictions of Black motherhood in the 90s. And don't forget, she could dance too, as that iconic ballet episode proved. Original Aunt Viv wasn't just a side character. She held her own in every scene, often challenging Uncle Phil and guiding Will through his emotional growth. She embodied strength without losing grace and offered a type of cool aunt energy that still felt very maternal. When Janet Hubert left, the dynamic noticeably shifted. That's how you know her presence was iconic. 7. Peggy Bundy, married with children. Peggy Bundy was the anti-sitcom mom in the best way possible. With her teased red hair, tight clothes, and zero interest in housework, she turned every stereotypical TV mom trope on its head. Peg didn't cook, didn't clean, and made it clear that her priorities were shopping, bonbons, and TV, not parenting perfection. And yet somehow she worked. Katie Seagal brought charisma, wit, and a unique kind of warmth to Peggy, who, despite her laziness, loved her family. She stuck with Al through thick and thin, and she never tried to fake being something she wasn't. Peg may have been unconventional, but that's exactly what made her unforgettable. 6. Sophia Petrillo, The Golden Girls. Sophia Petrillo, played by the brilliant Estelle Getty, wasn't your average TV mom. She was a force of nature. With her razor-sharp wit, endless Sicilian stories, and ability to drop a savage one-liner in the blink of an eye, Sophia stole every scene she appeared in. Even though she was technically a grandma by the time the Golden Girls began, her relationship with her daughter Dorothy and the other ladies kept her firmly in the TV Mom Hall of Fame. Sophia represented the kind of no-nonsense mother many of us knew in real life. She didn't sugarcoat things, but you knew she loved you deeply. Her past came through in wild anecdotes and back-in-my-day moments, but her role as the glue of the group gave the show both heart and humor. She was sassy, smart, and always had your back, even if she roasted you first. 5. Florida Evans' Good Times. Florida Evans is the very definition of strength through adversity. Played by Esther Roll, she was the emotional anchor of Good Times, a mother doing everything she could to raise her kids right in a tough Chicago housing project. She was spiritual, loving, and had a no-nonsense attitude that demanded respect. Florida's most powerful moments came when life hit hardest. Losing James, keeping her children out of trouble, or standing firm on her values even when it cost her. That unforgettable damn scene after James's death still stands as one of the most emotional moments in sitcom history. Florida was resilient and real, and her legacy lives on in the hearts of many. 4. Edith Bunker, All in the Family. Edith Bunker was gentle, kind, and endlessly patient, the complete opposite of her loudmouth husband, Archie. Played by Gene Stapleton, Edith was the heart of All in the Family, balancing Archie's rants with compassion, warmth, and quiet strength. She represented a generation of women who put family first and dealt with disrespect with grace. But Edith wasn't just a pushover. Over the years, she found her voice and stood her ground when it mattered most. Her development reflected the changing roles of women in the 1970s, making her both a product of her time and ahead of it. She was the warmth in the room, and when she was gone, the show was never the same. 3. Lucy Ricardo, I Love Lucy. Lucy Ricardo might not be the first name that pops up when thinking about traditional TV moms, but there's no denying her cultural impact. Lucille Ball was already a TV trailblazer, and when Lucy became a mom on screen, it was a groundbreaking moment. The birth of Little Ricky was one of the most watched TV episodes of all time, cementing her place in TV history. What made Lucy so special was her ability to blend maternal warmth with screwball comedy. She showed that moms could be funny, clumsy, ambitious, and still loving. Lucy paved the way for countless female comedians, and showed that being a mom didn't mean sacrificing your personality. In many ways, she was the original multitasking mom. 2. Marge Simpson, The Simpsons. Marge Simpson is arguably the most iconic animated mom of all time, and moving her up to number 2 feels only right. For more than 3 decades, Marge has kept her blue hair high and her family's chaos in check. She's put up with Homer's disasters, Bart's mischief, Lisa's existential crises, and Maggie's silence, all while maintaining her kindness and composure. What makes Marge truly legendary is her resilience and the emotional weight she carries. She's so much more than a cartoon character. She's a symbol of quiet strength, unconditional love, and sacrifice. Marge often puts her own dreams aside to make sure her family is okay, yet she still finds ways to pursue her passions, stand up for herself, and offer guidance. She's the backbone of Springfield and one of the most beloved maternal figures in TV history. Before we get to number 1, here are a few honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list, but definitely deserves their moment in the spotlight. 1. Claire Huxtable, The Cosby Show. Claire Huxtable is the gold standard. Played by Phylicia Rashad, Claire was elegant, intelligent, assertive, and deeply loving. As a successful lawyer and the mother of 5 kids, she was the epitome of balance. She could drop a legal argument at work and come home to give the perfect life lesson to Theo or Vanessa without missing a beat. Claire never let anyone underestimate her. She kept Cliff grounded, held her children accountable, and made sure that Black excellence wasn't just a concept. It was a lifestyle. Her grace, strength, and humor made her one of the most respected TV moms of all time. Claire Huxtable didn't just raise kids. She raised the bar for what motherhood on television could look like. And that's my countdown of the top 25 most iconic TV moms. Again, if I made this list tomorrow, a few rankings might shift. And if someone you love didn't make it, they may have just barely missed the cut or come from a show I haven't seen enough to fairly include. But whether they were sweet, strict, stylish, or savage, these moms each helped shape the way we see motherhood on television. A huge shout out and heartfelt thank you to our amazing throwback tier members: Peace by Chaos, Thecula, iCritic, Mary Jarrell, Jeremy Bowen, Mr. Blanks, and Sonic and Leighton Fan. Your support means the world, and you're helping keep the nostalgia alive in a big way. I also want to thank all the other awesome members who support the channel. Whether you're new or you've been rocking with us from the beginning, I appreciate every single one of you. If you'd like to help the channel grow even more, don't forget to check out the merch shop. It's another great way to show support and rep that nostalgic love wherever you go. Let me know in the comments who your favorite TV mom is, and be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more nostalgic content just like this. This is Let's Run It Back. And until next time, tell your mom you love her, and as always, keep the nostalgia alive.